News from the London Chronicle for November 4th, 1766. To the printer of the London Chronicle. Sir, I constantly take in your entertaining paper, in which I find many useful hints, especially lately about the monopoly of hops and so on. I am a farmer in Middlesex, and though some may deem it pride, I speak plainly. The monopoly is troublesome to all honest farmers, and much more to the public, as it imposes on them in several necessary commodities. The men firm and honest, who buy and bring the produce of the land to market, are oppressed by the avarice and combinations of wicked men, who are proud and generally oppress the poor. I am a farmer, and a good one too. But I'm honest and a happy father of 6 sons, who are being brought up in this once happy island. When I first began farming, above 50 years ago, most of the land was let at 10 shillings per acre, and the accommodations were decent, mannerly, and clean. I had some cows, calves, pigs, hogs, and so on. Provisions of all kinds, good beef and bacon for 4p or 5p per pound, good fowl or duck for 6p or 8p, were carried to market. Everyone having small decent accommodations, brewed his own beer, baked his own bread, and never thought of purchasing food. But now, not many of these remain. The great calamity farmers feel is the monopolizing of land. The great facility of misfortune is the root of it. The monopolizing farmer has no more feeling than a piece of timber. He has no more sense of decency than a different species. When farms were obliged to be let weekly, produce of all kinds was carried to market at reasonable rates. But now, farmers who rent large tracts, 800 or 1,000 acres, have prices at their command. They can reduce what one man sells to the lowest order. The tenant makes the community suffer, and though the landlord may be different, the damage falls upon the poor. I tell you myself, determine whether it is better to let one inconsiderable man take 800 acres or divide them among 14 families. Let everyone maintain a decent manner, pigs, calves, fruit, garden, hens, sheep, fowls, and so on. Then provisions of all kinds, good beef, fowl, or duck, would be carried to market. I am now verified in my experience. I brought up a large family, paid my rent honestly, did every necessary repair, being allowed rough timber, and shall leave my farm in good repair for my children. The timber now ready to cut is nearly equal to the value of the land I rent. Let the landed gentleman determine what is best. Either let large farms to individuals and be blamed for scarcity and expense, or reduce large farms into smaller ones of equal rent. To do it effectually, none should be let for more than £50 per annum. Then population and industry will flourish, and provisions of all kinds will be carried to market at reasonable rates. I am, sir, your humble servant, Rob Bradley. And now for context surrounding this letter and comparing it with colonial America and modern resonance. Robert Bradley's 1766 letter to the London Chronicle reads like both a rural protest and an early warning about the dangers of concentrated power. Writing as a Middlesex farmer, he condemns the rise of land monopolies that displace smallholders, inflate prices, and erode the self-sufficient communities that once anchored English life. His critique mirrors the grievances that soon animated the American colonies, where monopolies like the East India Company and distant political authorities were accused of manipulating markets and undermining local autonomy. What Bradley describes, a shift from many modest producers to a few dominant actors, echoes with unsettling clarity in modern debates over corporate agriculture, supply chain consolidation, and the disappearance of independent farms. Seen through a museum lens, his letter becomes an artifact of a recurring political pattern. When economic power concentrates, ordinary people lose agency. When local production collapses, civic life thins. And when scarcity is engineered rather than natural, public trust fractures. Bradley's voice, though rooted in 1766, speaks directly into the present.